Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this video is just a quick recap of the weekend's boxing action. We had a couple of cards in America and I will run through them and just tell you what I thought of the fights. First and foremost, we had a card by Top Rank, and it was headlined by Conceicao versus Xavier Martinez. Of course, Conceicao was coming off that controversial loss to Oscar Valdez. Most people thought he won, and he actually looked quite impressive in that fight. He boxed a really good fight. So his stock rose after that fight despite the defeat, and Xavier Martinez was an undefeated sort of fringe contender going into this fight. He was 17-0, but you know, to tell you the truth, I've never really been that high on Xavier Martinez. I was pretty confident that Conceicao would win this fight comprehensively on points, and that's what happened. For me, Martinez, he's like an aggressive come forward counterpuncher, but his volume is very low. He does have good accuracy, and he does have decent power, but he never really goes through the gears and, you know, ups the tempo when he needs to. So I felt that would be a recipe for disaster in this fight against a long, languid boxer like Conceicao. And yeah, the fight really played out how I was expecting. Conceicao was managing the distance very well behind his jab. He was landing the 1-2. Also, he was landing his check left hook as Xavier Martinez was trying to advance. And yeah, he was just constantly making Martinez reset so that Martinez was never really in position to land his power punches. He landed a few shots here and there. He won a couple of rounds, but I felt Martinez in this fight was soundly outboxed. Conceicao was showing good legs, some nice combinations at times, a bit more variety in his offense. And yeah, this was a relatively routine win for Conceicao. There were no adjustments from Xavier Martinez throughout this fight, which is what I was worried about. You know, I was thinking after round 5, round 6, Martinez needs to change something because what he was doing wasn't working. He should have upped his tempo and took more risks. But you know, he's quite methodical in his approach, and you know, we saw the negatives of that in this fight. So yeah, Conceicao, he looked pretty good in this fight, boxed a good fight, and he puts himself back in position in the super featherweight division to get a good fight. For me personally, I would like to see Conceicao back in action rather quickly. I would actually have him have a quick turnaround and fight on the undercard of Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. That's a unification fight, of course. Even if you get Conceicao in an 8-rounder on that card, just keep him relevant, keep him active, and I would have Conceicao fight the winner of Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. That's what I would like to see. I think Conceicao deserves another title shot after how he was treated in that Valdez fight, and he's coming off a good win here, so he puts himself back in position, and yeah, we'll see where he goes. On the undercard, I mean, the undercard wasn't particularly strong, to say the least. However, there were a couple of things to watch out for. For example, heavyweight prospect Stephen Shaw, he moves to 16-0. He knocked out Jerry DeWaco in the last round of their fight, a TKO. Stephen Shaw, I mean, he's okay. He does the basics well. He carries a little bit of power. Once again, kind of methodical, not really all that dynamic, but he's decent enough. He could be a good mid-tier heavyweight, but he needs a step up. He's not really been all that active for a prospect. And yeah, in his next fight, I'd like to see him fight someone like Jerry Forrest or Carlos Negron, guys like that. So yeah, Stephen Shaw got a win. You had the other heavyweight prospect, Jeremiah Milton. He knocked out Del Long in 1 round. Jeremiah Milton actually looks pretty decent. He's certainly worth looking out for. Quite a quick heavyweight, seems to carry decent power. He's not the biggest. He's 6'4", but he looks decent enough, worth following. And you also had Nico Ali Walsh fighting on this card, and he knocked out Jeremiah Yeager in the second round. If you didn't know, Nico Ali Walsh is the grandson of Muhammad Ali, and Top Rank really are selling the shit out of Nico Ali Walsh, but quite frankly, I don't really rate him all that highly. I mean, he's not Campbell Hatton level bad, but I don't think he's great. He carries a little bit of power, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is really. He's a bit of an attraction, but I can't really see Nico Ali Walsh going all that far. He needs a lot of work and a lot of time, to be honest. So yeah, don't really rate Nico Ali Walsh all that highly. And yeah, that is pretty much the Top Rank card right there. You also had another card in America, and this was a Don King card. Now, I'm not going to say too much about this card because the last time I covered a Don King card, it was Trevor Bryan versus Bermain Stavern, and yeah, I got fucking copyright struck by Don King. But yeah, card was headlined by Ilunga Makabu versus Tabisu Mchunu for the WBC Cruiserweight title. Makabu won by split decision, which was seen as very controversial. It was competitive, but honestly, I felt Mchunu won this fight. I felt Makabu started okay. You know, early in the fight, he was applying pressure and forcing Mchunu back, actually getting close to Mchunu. And Makabu was landing good body shots early on in the pocket. But as the fight played out, I felt that Mchunu was dictating how this fight was going. He was outboxing Makabu on the back foot, popping that southpaw jab. And by the way, both of these guys were southpaws, but he was popping the southpaw jab, touching up Makabu, and he was landing some good lead shots out of his southpaw stance, the left hand and the right hook as well. Landed a couple of good right hooks in this fight. And he was also countering Makabu quite effectively as this fight was going on. And yeah, I felt that Mchunu was always a step ahead in this fight. I felt he was the ring general for the most part. Makabu did have success here and there, but it was fleeting as the fight was playing out. And honestly, I don't really get how you can give Makabu more than... I don't think he'd done enough to win this fight, put it that way. I can't see him getting 7 rounds to win this fight. I really can't. And yeah, Mchunu, it's a shame really, because he's been a road warrior, fought the top competition at cruiserweight to varying results. He's lost some, he's won some. And yeah, I felt he deserved this win, to be honest. I felt he was more effective in there in comparison to Makabu. And Makabu to me looked pretty flat. As the fight was playing out, his balance was getting worse and worse. And yeah, I just felt Makabu was second best in this one. Can't really say no more than that. Wasn't a great fight. It was a little bit sloppy, to be honest. But yeah, I think Makabu got a bit of a gift in this one. And also on the undercard, you had Trevor Bryan defending his WBA regular heavyweight title against Jonathan Guidry. I think he's from like Louisiana. I'd never heard of this dude, but he came in there with an unbeaten record of 17-0 with 2 draws. He gave Trevor Bryan a decent fight. He was working away, trying to make a fight of it, but Trevor Bryan really was more effective. He dropped Jonathan Guidry in the last round. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a sloppy fight. Trevor Bryan, in my opinion, needs to lose a bit of weight. He's far too sluggish. He's far too... I think he's too heavy, to be honest. I mean, he showed the dynamism of a sloth on LSD. Really gangly, really awkward, really slow. Didn't look all that great, in my opinion. But I felt he won the fight. But in all seriousness, Trevor Bryan is really going nowhere in the heavyweight division. He'll be used to he'll be cashed out for that WBA regular title, and I can't see Trevor Bryan beating anybody of consequence in the heavyweight division. I mean, there's a reason why this guy is going life and death with Jonathan Guidry and the ghost of Bermain Stavern. I don't really think Trevor Bryan's all that good. They're talking about a potential fight with Daniel Dubois. And listen, Dubois, as we know, Dubois is not perfect, but he's far more talented than Trevor Bryan. And I think he takes out Trevor Bryan quite easily. I think he goes through him like a doorway. Bryan can be a bit awkward, you know, but he's not great. He's really not great. So yeah, it is what it is, man. He'll get beat soon. But anyway, share your thoughts below. What did you make of this weekend's action? Quite a quiet weekend, but it was good to see Robson Conceicao back in action. He boxed a good fight. And yeah, share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.